Big game Tuesday night inside Amica Mutual Pavilion.
It's the dunk.
The AMP. It's the AMP.
Not to me.
Amica Mutual must be furious with the state of things because nobody will call it Amica Mutual. Nobody will. Even inside college bat, like we were in studio all night last night, and John Rothstein's like the dunk. Like he won't. And he knows it's not the dunk anymore, but he just refuses to acknowledge what it actually is. And I don't blame him. Amica, you can't just start calling the dunk Amica.
You got an arena in the heart of New England, Dunkin' Donuts Center. It's the dunk. That's
it's the dunk.
Yeah.
They're trying to call it the AMP.
No.
I watched a whole YouTube. I watched a YouTube video with the president of Amica Mutual Pavilion, so I could make sure. Because I didn't know whether it was Amica or Amica.
Okay, fair enough.
I didn't want to be mispronouncing words the way you so often do.
You're dialed in. Hey, listen, we can both be guilty of that. Let's be honest there. But I tell you what, the calculus crew came for me.
They
filled me with the fury.
How about this? I was so unfamiliar with that word, I didn't even know I was saying it right and you were saying it wrong.
No, I've heard many of folks call it infinitesimal, so I was going off of that. But infinitesimal, there you go.
You know how people always say when you're laying on your deathbed, you're right.
Yeah.
I feel like when I'm laying on my deathbed, one of the things I'm going to think about is how much time I spent on YouTube watching clips, just trying to figure out how to pronounce somebody's name or something.
Feels like there's better use of your brain as the final few synapses fire. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm going to focus on that. And once I'm done with that, then I'll think about my children.
Okay. Sounds good. Let's talk Providence.
94-86 over Creighton in double overtime. So Providence is now 14-0 at home this season, 9-1 past 10 games in overtime. Tied for third of the Big East standings, despite losing 5 of the top 6 scorers from last season's team that won the Big East regular season title. We've spent a lot of time talking about Jerome Tang at Kansas State, Shaka Smart at Marquette, and Jeff Capel at Pitt, all wildly overachieving relative to expectations. Here's Providence again. I mean, they lost 5 of the top 6 scorers and clearly headed to the NCAA tournament and at least still in contention. I know a lot of teams are technically in contention, but realistically in contention for another Big East title. I don't think they'll get it, but they woke up today still in realistic contention for it. It's a nice story. And like we've talked about Ed Cooley many times over the years. He's just fabulous. He is just fabulous in every way. Coaching a basketball team in a basketball game, running a basketball program, engaging with the community, just like you give me a program to start somewhere, like he's on the short list of guys I would want running it.
I agree. And he is just continues to build his legend in that area. He obviously grew up there. Providence, Creighton fell for one of the classic blunders. It got involved in a 5-point game against Providence.
Can't do that.
Shouts to John Fanta for this stat. I put it in my court report on Wednesday as well. In the past 9 seasons, when Providence has a game decided by 5 points or fewer, Ed Cooley's teams have won 71% of the time. That's incredible. 5 points or fewer, 71% win rate. And as you said, 9-1 overtime games in the past 10. He's awesome. He said last night, this is becoming one of the hardest buildings in the country to play in. Becoming is no longer needed there. And it is in the top 10 hardest. When you look at the win percentage, the fan base, I was watching that Creighton Providence game and I tweeted this. It has me so geeked for the Big East tournament. I mean, the top 5 teams in this league are all awesome. All can make the second weekend. Many of them have Final Four aspirations. Devin Carter was a boss. 25 points, the best he had ever scored in a college uniform, and helped Providence nudge away a really good Creighton team that was riding its longest win streak ever in Big East play. And yeah, they needed to play 50 full minutes on it. Really, really good game. And we got another one coming tonight, by the way, on CBS Sports Network on our air. GP will be in studio. And because Providence won the game against Creighton, it now sets up a Xavier at Marquette. Winner's going to be in sole possession of first place in the Big East. But that could flip, obviously, by the time we get to the start of the Big East tournament. Xavier still will not have Zach Freemantle. Marquette is the lead item of the court report today. That'll be linked in this podcast description. Please do check it out because the Golden Eagles have been able to be another one of those big surprises, lost 4 of their top 6 scorers, picked 9th in the Big East preseason. Shaka Smart's going to win Coach of the Year. Ed Cooley's doing a great job. Shaka Smart will win Coach of the Year, and he's done it without a Division I transfer on the roster this season. Now, Marquette's not the only one, but it's the only one, as I point out, that didn't come into the season projected to be a tournament team. UCLA, Indiana, Michigan State, these were all teams that didn't add a D1 transfer last offseason and were thought to be tournament teams. Marquette was thought maybe fringe NIT. Some friends of the pod even playfully poked fun at our preseason predictions, and I appreciate that. Shouts to Crack Sidewalks and Paint Touches and Anonymous Eagle. They got us good. But the point is, Shaka Smart was able to do this, and I'm not going to spoil it for you, but he gave me some really good insight and quotes about transfers looking for money and him straight up abandoning recruitments of transfers, deciding intentionally not to add a D1 player. And now Marquette's top 6 players are all sophomores that lead the team in scoring there. So that's an awesome Wednesday night game. I think Marquette, just like Providence, just like Xavier, just like Creighton, can win the league. And Ed Cooley has managed to do it again. He's the opposite. And I have Shaka quoting Ed, or talking about Ed in a quote in the story, and that Shaka's not saying, listen, the way that we did it this year, it's not the only way. It's just the way that I wanted to do it. Ed, meantime, he's methodical about it. He knows what he's doing. They bring in a ton in the portal. You've seen that. Bryce Hopkins has been one of the 5 best transfers in the country. And I think one of the defining stories of this Big East race, and there's been really, there are really 7 or 8 major plot lines to it. It's the fact that, and no, they're not playing each other this week, but you've got Marquette that added one NAIA dude. That's who they added. Okay. And then they brought back a lot of guys that people underestimated. Meantime, Ed Cooley wins his first Big East regular season championship in school history last season. Then they lose the majority of their dudes. He goes into the portal, and Providence was given more of the benefit of the doubt, was not seen in the preseason as a viable Big East contender. And now we look up, here they are, have been atop the league all season long. That was an awesome game at the Dunk, the Amp, whatever you want to call it. And the Big East is going to continue to be a thrill ride here over the next 3 weeks.
Like you said tonight on, and just as you were talking through that, the ACC Coach of the Year is likely to be somebody who was previously fired. And the Big East Coach of the Year, that's Jeff Capel, by the way. And the Big East Coach of the Year is likely to be somebody who wasn't fired or even pushed out, but was very much in an uncomfortable situation. That's a reasonable way to put it, right? Was in an uncomfortable situation at Texas, was going to enter the next season probably on those hot seat list. And he is on the verge of, being the you don't think so?
No, I do. Someone in the comment just said, is Shaka coaching his way into the Texas job? That's a funny comment. Ethan. That is good.
What if Shaka did so well Texas tried to hire him back?
I know. That's good.
We get a tweet from Rothstein. Sources, Texas has zeroed in on Shaka Smart to be its next head coach. Could do worse. Could do worse. Here's the truth: like Shaka wasn't bad at Texas. He just wasn't what Texas wanted him to be. But we've been through that before. Yep. I do think it's interesting that Shaka Smart, in an uncomfortable position at Texas, is going to be the Big East Coach of the Year, it appears. And Jeff Capel, fired at Oklahoma, is going to be the ACC coach. There's life after death.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Shouts to BIG. I didn't know if that's where you're going with it.
No, I was just gonna stop right there. Big time game on CBS Sports Network tonight. Like, huge. How often do you get this? The winner of this particular game, whoever it is, will be alone atop its league standings when they will go to bed tonight. That's a factual statement about Marquette Xavier tonight.
Seems like it happens somewhat often, but not every week.
Trying to hype this thing for CBS Sports Network.
This is the game of the night.
What I needed you to say there was, GP, I haven't looked this up, but I don't think it's ever happened.
Okay.
That's what I was looking for.
Gaslighting the audience, always a winning strategy. It's my most anticipated game of the night. We'll preview Wednesday and Thursday at the end of the show here. However, whatever routes we take to get there, we will mention there's also obviously another very, very good game, and we'll get to that in just a second. But Xavier Marquette is the goods. And if Marquette is able to win, I'm pretty sure this is the case. If Marquette wins, yes, it will be ensured. Marquette fans, get on this one. If Marquette wins, it will be ensured that it is not swept by Xavier. And because of that, it will avoid any kind of sweep in the Big East this season, Wonder when the last time that was true, that a Marquette team never got swept by an opponent in the regular season. Any opponent. It will dodge that if it avenges its January 15th loss, only a 4-point defeat at Xavier. What else you got?